I scaled 200 Shopify stores, and here's the brutal truth that nobody tells you. I've been working in e-commerce since 2013, and I've partnered with more than 200 Shopify stores across all niches, from beauty and skincare to fashion, pet products, and more. Some of those were founders launching their very first online store. Others were established brands already doing $500,000 a month in sales. And here is what I've learned. Starting out can feel absolutely terrifying. It's complete information overload. There's so much to do, so many moving parts to keep track of all at once. How do you possibly navigate it all and, more importantly, avoid that one critical mistake right out of the gate, the kind that forces you to shut everything down? That's exactly why today I'm pulling back the curtain on the 4 fatal mistakes. The one that don't just lead to setbacks, but to complete disaster, bankruptcy, and force you to shut your dream down for good. I won't just tell you about them, I'll show you real, raw case studies from our work, the stories we lived through alongside founders. And most important, I'm giving you a simple, actionable plan. You'll see exactly how each of those tragedies could have been easily avoided with just a few strategic steps. This isn't magic, it's the knowledge I'm handing to you right now. You will be surprised, but the majority of businesses almost always make the same mistake, even despite the fact these businesses are completely different in their nature and profit. But let's start from the beginning. At the first consultation with business owner, I ask 4 simple questions. These questions are basis for any business or enterprise, without which it is impossible to be profitable. What's your margin? The difference between revenue from the sale of the product and the cost of the product. It reflects companies' operating efficiency and profitability. What's your break-even ROAS? The exact point where your ads stop losing you money. What's your average order value? Your total amount of revenue divided by the number of orders. Basically, how much money your average customer spends every time they buy from you. What's your lifetime value? How much one customer is worth across repeat purchases. Almost none of them knew their own numbers. These are not complicated financial models. These are the absolute basics that decide whether your store survives. But you'd be shocked at how many times the answer I get is, I don't know. I'll give you one example that really stuck with me. We were working with a beauty brand, and in the beginning things looked promising. We sat down, mapped out our targets for the next 3 months, and set up campaigns. The store started growing, sales were coming in, the numbers on the dashboard looked good. Anyone from the outside would have said, this brand is on the right track. But 2 months in, the founder sends me the message, I can't keep going, I'm out of money. Now, that didn't make sense at first. Sales were growing, so why would this business be out of money? When we dug deeper, we found the problem. He had miscalculated his margin. He only looked at the product cost versus selling price. But he forgot about processing fees. He forgot about monthly subscriptions keeping his store alive. Shopify, apps, tools. He didn't budget for freelancers or contractors. So on paper, it looked like he was making money, but in reality, every single order was losing him a few dollars. And those dollars added up. Within weeks, the brand was completely out of cash. And just like that, the business shut down. This is what I call the illusion of revenue. You can have sales, you can have customers, you can even show a screenshot of 20K months in Shopify dashboard. But if you don't understand your margins, your break-even point, your actual expenses, all of that is just vanity. And this is why so many founders enter e-commerce with unrealistic expectations. They think, if I can just sell, I'll be fine. But selling is only step 1. Making money is the actual step 2. So how do you avoid this? Before you launch, build a simple P&L, profit and loss plan, for at least 6 to 12 months. And I don't mean a 40-page business plan that nobody will ever read. I mean 1-page spreadsheet that answers the following questions. How many units do I need to sell each month? What's my ad budget? What are my fixed costs? Shopify, payment processors, apps, freelancers, team. How much does production or inventory actually cost me? Once you fill this in, you'll know the answer to the most important question. Under what conditions does this business even work? If you don't know that, you are not running a business, you are gambling. And here's the thing, this mistake doesn't just waste money, it kills momentum. That beauty brand had the real potential. Customers liked the product, ads were working. But because of poor planning, the founder never gave himself a chance to see it through. And that's the tragedy of unrealistic expectations. They don't just ruin your numbers, worse, they ruin your confidence. The good news is, with a little planning up front, it's 100% preventable. And that's why at the very beginning of every client's journey, we built a 6-month P&L forecast where the numbers become the baseline for the strategy. We model different scenarios up front so we can spot the risks early and make sure these situations never happen. And here's the second mistake I see all the time. Even if a founder gets past the illusion of revenue and proves people want the product, they fall into what I call the MVP trap. A founder comes to me and says, I just want to test the product. I've built simple website on the template, I've got a couple of $1,000s for advertising spend, and I just want to see if people will buy it. And honestly, that's not the bad way to start. Launch lean, test fast. So we take on the project, we run the campaigns, and the good news, we get sales. The product works, people are buying. But here's where the trap begins. Once we sit down to plan the next steps, the numbers tell us the truth. If we want this business to scale, we can't just keep doing the same thing. We need to increase site conversion rate from 0.8 to at least 1.6%. We need to improve CTR on ads from 1.1 to 1.5%. Without those improvements, the model doesn't work long term. And that requires investment, better site design, higher quality creatives, UGC videos, email flows. But the founder didn't budget for that. They only budgeted for testing. So they hope. They hope their numbers will magically get better on their own. But in e-commerce, hope isn't a strategy. So what happens? The project stalls. The early sales are exciting, but unit economics never work. And without reinvestment, the store closes down. Testing is fine, but if your entire plan is let's just test and see what happens, and you do not budget for scaling, you're walking straight into the MVP trap. The test might prove people want your product, but that doesn't mean your business can survive. That's why, once testing is done, it's important to closely look at the funnel and see where exactly the customers are dropping off. Sometimes it's the ad creative, sometimes it's the product page, sometimes it's checkout. Knowing the precise points to adjust, instead of just saying rebuild the website, will help you to improve the customer's journey step by step and saves you thousands in wasted spend. And this brings us to mistake number 3, and it's one of the most painful lessons for new founders. They expect to make money on the very first transaction. This might have been possible 5 or 10 years ago when the ads were cheaper. But in 2025, the cost of traffic has exploded. Meta CPMs have doubled compared to pre-COVID. Google Ads CPC keeps rising every single year. And that means your cost to acquire a customer, your customer acquisition cost, is often higher than the margin on your first product. So if you are hoping to profit from your very first order, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. Here is the new rule. If in 2025 you can break even on acquiring a new customer, you already have a successful business. Why? Because once that customer is in your ecosystem, every repeat purchase is profit. That's why beauty brands build refill programs. That's why supplement companies push subscriptions. That's why pet stores thrive on autoship. The winners don't look at the very first sale as profit. They look at it as a cost of buying a customer. And if you are break even on that first purchase, you've already won the hardest battle. Don't measure success by did I make money on my order number 1? Measure it by how many of these customers came back. How much did they spend in 6 months? What's my LTV? Because in today's environment, profit isn't made on the first order. It's made on the second, third, and fourth. Now, let's talk about the mistake number 4, and that's a big one. Beginners almost always go too broad. They launch a store selling a little bit of everything. Skincare, gadgets, kitchen products, fashion items, hoping that something will stick. And on paper, it looks smart. More products mean more chances to make a sale, right? But in reality, it almost always backfires. Because here is the environment we are living in. Shopify reports that over 5,000 new stores are built every single day. That's millions of new stores added every single year. And most of them are chasing the same trend in products. So when a customer lands on your general store, what do they see? No focus, no authority, no reasons to trust you over other 5,000 stores selling the same thing. It feels random, it feels like a dropshipping catalog, and it kills conversion. The stores that actually break through are the ones that go narrow instead of going wide. They focus on solving one problem for one type of customer. They speak directly to a niche audience, and because of that, they build credibility. Think about it. A random home goods store with more than 100 products feels cheap, but the brand built around only eco-friendly cookware feels trustworthy. A generic fashion store feels like a scam, but the brand dedicated to premium running shorts for athletes feels real. The difference is focus. Customers don't want to buy from a store that looks like it sells everything to everyone. They want to buy from a store that looks like it was built for them. Don't try to be broad. Don't try to cover every niche at once. Start with one problem, one product line, one customer type. Build depth, build trust, build expertise. Because in today's crowded e-commerce world, specific wins over general every single time. If you want to launch or scale your Shopify store this month, we can help avoid all the hidden pitfalls and critical mistakes that kill most of the projects. This isn't theory, this is a proven strategy that we've already walked through with more than 200 clients. You don't need to waste months on trials and errors or burn your budget on mistakes. We handle all the hard parts, so you get the results faster and with less stress. Click the link in the description to book a consultation, and I'll personally review your project and show you exactly how we can take it forward. See you!